Hello and welcome everyone, my name is Nostalgic.
And I'm RareWarington.
And welcome to a new episode of Kooky Quest, the show where we embark on a quest in reviewing and discussing various gaming topics and news. We have a bit of a full circle episode today, as it's close to, now I believe, like 1 year since we started uploading for the Kooky Crew channel here. So what is going to be our quest today here, Sam?
Yeah, it's almost been a year for us on this channel. And also one of our first official episode of Kooky Quest, we actually talked about the formation of Day for Night Studios, which was formed by Christian Cantamessa, an Italian-American writer famous for his work as the actual game creator and lead design of Red Dead Redemption 1, which is a great game. He's also involved in the Manhunt series, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and he worked on Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. He did a lot of writing, and he actually worked on the recent canned Perfect Dark game as well. And his co-founder, Davide Soliani, someone who we've talked about on this channel before, the creative lead of the Mario and Rabbids series, Sparks of Hope. They both did work on Rayman back in the day, Beyond Good and Evil, creative director on Just Dance 2014. Just a lot of great experiences and great credit for these two lead co-founders of this new Day for Night studio. And we're going to be talking about their reveal that they just had at the VGAs, the Video Game Awards, revealing their new game, Bradley the Badger. And I couldn't be more stoked. I mean, our taste in games, man, couldn't be more stoked, to say the least.
I very much share the same sentiment there. As you mentioned, our very first Kooky Quest episode was covering the formation of Day for Night Studios, formed by Davide Soliani and the other co-founder there. And man, we were excited even from the very beginning, because some of the language that they used to just describe this game just filled us with a lot of excitement. That this was like a very much a passion project, and we've been kind of keeping an eye on them, and we even both of us talked to Grant Kirkhope earlier this year, and Sam was telling us earlier on this channel that Grant Kirkhope, even back then in April, was already starting to work on some tracks for Bradley the Badger, for which he's the composer of the game.
That's right. Grant just talking so highly about Davide and the team. And to talk a little bit about the team, I will say, Davide has expressed this in a few interviews and such. I will be referring a few times to the interview recently by the two respective co-founders with IGN and also thegamebusiness.com, which are some great interviews. I'll have them linked in the description. But the team is just fantastic. And as Davide has said, the core team there is a lot of people who actually have worked together for 15 to 25 plus years, and all have history with Davide at Ubisoft Milan, which is actually the studio that these two co-founders both met with each other back in the 1990s and early 2000s. Like I said, they both worked on Rayman as an IP back in the Game Boy Color days. And hearing a lot of what is basically that core team is they consider themselves like a family is really, really cool. It's a really cool dynamic that you love to hear about in the development of a game like this. But yeah, I think they stated it was 2023, October. So I guess a couple years back, but October 2023, Davide had called up Christian Cantamessa, and they've just been friends. They've stayed in touch all these years since they met in Ubisoft Milan. And so they wanted to work on something, talking about how it kind of had come to a crossroads in both of their respective careers, that they want to do something new. Perfect Dark had gotten canned. Ubisoft had been changing some things in management. And it was a time where they both wanted to pursue their passion and make a game that both of them have wanted to make for years. And just the respect that they have given in both these interviews. I'll play a clip here in a moment. Just the respect for Rare, and, the early Nintendo word, but also especially Rare and Rareware.
Yes, specifically. Yes.
Yeah, so they even made a statement where it was we love current Rare and they're doing amazing things, but there was a pinnacle of creative brilliance that came from Rareware of the late 80s to early 2000s. And I can't agree with that sentiment enough, and really cool to hear some of that inspiration. As they said, they'd like to see themselves as spiritually inspired by these old creations and developers there.
Rareware, it was such an inspiration for us. I want to say growing up, we were kind of grown up a little bit already when we were playing their games. I mean, obviously I was playing games from Ultimate Software and on my ZX Spectrum, but the whole point was that they hit a point that was a creative apex of of gaming with Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Conquer Back for a Day. These are, I mean, apart from my work on Perfect Dark at Twitch again, sort of like speaks to my devotion to like the Rare of the 90s, that whole string of like action adventure platforming games were, you know, seminal for us because we were working on action adventure platforming games. Actually, back in the day, we were doing platforming games for the Game Boy Color, and so we're working on our games, and we're like playing Banjo and going like, well, that's it. We should just go home. We should just, you know, find another job, make coffee somewhere. And so the idea that we can bring some of that magic back, from some of that, you know, Rare is off to great things now, but we are still in love with the olden days of their productions, and if we can capture some of the magic again, that would be like the best.
I got a very Conquer vibe. I guess because there's a parody element.
But you are not wrong. There is a Conquer vibe. Yeah. There is a Rare vibe.
There is also a bit of what we loved when we were younger, like games from Rare, games from Nintendo. So I believe that Bradley is that kind of colorful and joyful mascot, but then the mechanics and the story are something completely new and innovative.
Yeah, so in a way we see ourselves as, you know, spiritually inspired by the Rare of that era.
And talking again just about our topic today for the Bradley the Badger, the reveal that we had at the Game Awards there, it was kind of interesting to look back and kind of see that there were hints of it coming in retrospect, because a few days before the Game Awards, Davide Soliani was at Grant Kirkhope's house, and Grant Kirkhope was like serenading him with the ukulele, like playing like Spower Mountain, like posting that. And it's like, I guess, and he was like, Davide was like saying something like, guess who played for me this morning and stuff. So, and then like, I think they even did a post that said they're at the Game Awards, but even so, like looking back, you could kind of see coming that they were going to be talking about their new project there.
For sure. And like you said, I mean, man, I didn't think about it at all. It's like, yeah, they were together. They're both in LA. They're right where the TGAs are happening. But yeah, it was really cool. That reveal was very unexpected. But I will say, going into the reveal though, like, man, I just I don't know what your thoughts were, Drew, but like I was just thoroughly impressed. Like there's like this and they've stated it in interviews too, there's like this meta, like satirical sense. Like it's like, it looks like, you know, he wakes up even and he goes like, oh, I would love a new platform game and all this, and like, it just totally sets up like it's like this mascot that's like from the 80s, 90s, and he's like a pre-existing guy. But yeah, like as soon as he leaves his house, like you get hit with that meta, like almost Conker's Bad Fur Day type vibe, where like it's just like a Souls-like a Dark Souls aesthetic game with all these hands and like just a really creepy aesthetic as soon as he leaves his house. So like, yeah, I'm just loving the like meta satirical element of it, and like it's again very Conker's Bad Fur Day, like.
Very much in that vein, and then Rare in general, like we said. And I love this particular shot, you know, where he's waking up, and you see a couple of little callbacks here and there. You see a banjo on the top left of the screen. Apparently, I've heard that there is a kazoo around somewhere. We just can't see it here in particular. There's the CRT TV in the back with something that looks like, it kind of looks like if like a GameCube merged with like an SNES, like a GameCube shaped box with a cartridge in the top. And I think that kind of thing is awesome. And yeah, he just wakes up just all refreshed. Time for a new platforming adventure, and that of course leads us to talk about his new voice actor there. So what's his name again there?
So the new voice actor is actually like I said, he's done a lot of voice work he's credited for, but he's mostly just a full-on actor. Evan Peters. So I'm actually a casual fan of Evan Peters. He's in a lot of things that I like. Some horror work. He's actually, I believe it's Quicksilver from the Marvel, or rather the X-Men series. He's also in WandaVision. He's an American Horror Story. He's actually recently been Dahmer in a docu-series, but he's like an incredible, insane actor, just a really, really good actor. And it was really cool to see him doing the voice of Bradley the Badger. And like you said, I do want to credit the IGN interview for like looking at about 8 seconds into the trailer. If you look at that, you can see a lot of that old like CRT, old like looks like Nintendo references, kind of Rareware. Davide did say there was a kazoo. We, like Drew said, we haven't spotted it. But yeah, just really cool stuff. And yeah, I mean, as far as the aesthetic of the game, we'll talk a little bit more about Evan Peters' involvement in a bit. But just seeing like that first like Badgerborn, like just to put another point in like the square of like Conquer-esque sort of vibe, just I absolutely love that, man. I absolutely like love the like the whole project's concept. It seems really, really cool there.
And it seems that, yeah, they are, of course, and it seems to, like to say, primarily inspired by like the 90s Rareware, but it seems like this game is a love letter to like all video games in general, like more modern stuff like Bloodborne or like Cyberpunk that we'll go into a bit further here. I like how it talks about how he did some platforming, and he did, like, when he jumps, he does this little arm flap thing, which I think is just funny. It's good stuff. And he's fighting this like big skeleton scarecrow looking thing. And yeah, this game is going to go a little bit on the I think have a slight little edge to it, though definitely not the edge that Conquer did. And Davide mentioned, in an interview there, that we do want to keep this a game that like people can play with their kids. So it's probably going to be my E10. I imagine it's going to be around E10, probably most likely here.
Yeah, that was my guess too. When I was saying like I would think E10T at the most, but like they said it's like when asked if the IGN guy could play it with a 6-year-old son there, they stated that like they had a lot of like DreamWorks or rather Pixar in like Lego Movie or like Wreck-It Ralph, a lot of their inspirations. So like it is a game for all ages. It is for everyone. Like they stated, there's some jokes like both meta and like satirical and like just kind of adult jokes that like are kind of under the radar that maybe they won't notice there. But like you said, like there was that Bloodborne-esque like creature that like you have to fight, and you do like a sort of a parry. And they stated like it must be a splatter of something, but it isn't blood. So it should be good for all ages. Yes, and I see that even his weapon of choice is the frying pan, which is like direct Conquer right there. So, and totally. And he goes to this finds this building that says "waiting for review." He goes in, and I'm assuming he goes inside of it, and he finds the controller, which will give him what pretty much amounts to developer options, where you can manipulate items and assets and turn them into different objects and unlock all these different abilities. And just want to highlight just this expression of Bradley here, like what the crap, just like just trying to make sense of this world and the quest he's trying to go through here. But this mechanic, these developer options just really just brings the game's fundamental hook, and I think what's going to be really make the game special there. Yeah, like you said, it's like the gimmick, like the hook. And this mechanic in general, like this whole concept, like I do like looking back, like you brought up the waiting for review, like it's assets that are still under review, or in other shots, which I'll put up on screen, there's like rejected assets, like canceled assets that are just to be deleted. Like there's rejected assets and unfinished, untextured assets. So it appears to be the case that you can control and you can use those developer tools and that developer power on any unfinished or rejected assets within the game. So definitely a really cool concept, man. And like I love it as a hook mechanic there. I really like it. And like even in the world itself, I'm just looking at this screen where he's about to create like an extendo hand platformer. There are like notes that are scattered all around, and these are like all assumed like developer notes, that are showing up in the game itself. But I just love it, and he even comments on, "Oh yeah, make your own platform game, baby," and it's good. It's just awesome stuff, and I just love how it's just this mechanic is going to open up all kinds of different possibilities there. Yeah, and then another like thing I love, like Christian Cantamessa kind of talked about this, because like between the two of them, Davide Soliani, like Davide is a very like player first, like just super polished, super innovative game designer, and then he as well as has done some game design, Christian Cantamessa. But he's like mostly a writer. He loves the symbolism in games and being able to tell stories through visuals. And you can tell that like a lot of these games, a lot of them have an infamy of being stuck in some development hell. So seeing like Cyberpunk, The Last of Us, things like that, it's definitely really, really cool. It seems like right now, like it's actually a story about developers themselves. Like it's very reminiscent to like Unreal Engine, and sort of like they haven't really like nailed the look for this game. Thus the like Conquer very meta visiting modern games and predominantly like Sony games, actually, it seems like. But yeah, really, really cool stuff, man. All the worlds you go to are like really cool. Like I said, Last of Us, Cyberpunk, just really cool stuff, man.
And it looks like with this this developer options, we have like multiple windows and like menus of it. I'm just going over a few of the options like scale, transfer, volumify, gravity, liquefy, and like other, even some more. Like I said, multiple menus. Scale, transfer, copy, magnet, control. It's just like and just the tools you're going to be able to have. And again, this is just the ones we've seen so far, and like just like all kinds of different possibilities. I like this one where he goes to this cyberpunk-esque world, and he turns into the trash bin and uses the trash bin to just roll up a wall there, complete with Rare-esque googly eyes.
Yeah, with Steve Mail's Banjo Kazooie googly eyes, but yeah, it's like when he turns into that, or like the apple in the other scene. Like I was taking some screenshots earlier of like the scale, magnet, transfer, liquefy, control, copy, and what Davide and Christian Cantamessa, Davide Soliani respectively, and Christian Cantamessa have mentioned is that you can layer some of these. I don't know to what extent, but you can layer, so you can liquefy and scale, or etc.
Ooh, combinations.
So you can kind of stack. Yeah, you can kind of stack them. And they were saying like the play testing has been really fascinating for them because like they've had players solve puzzles. They kind of had like an idea of how they might approach it, but approaching it in ways that are like totally nothing they like had in mind. And based off those results, they're kind of putting new stuff in the game based off the players' like feedback. And like, man, just sounds really cool. Kind of like what Nintendo's been doing, a lot of open-ended like puzzle solutions. And
that's what I was just going to say there. I mean, because Breath of the Wild, of course, I brought in like the idea of open-ended mechanics, Tears of the Kingdom, and a lot of games have been kind of using some of that sense. But yeah, just the whole idea of like having a set of tools that you can like figure out multiple solutions to different scenarios. So I like that idea a lot there.
Yeah, and like even Bonanza, like you said, Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, I do like that idea of kind of like the open-ended solution. It gives you a lot of options as a player, and like I'm stoked for it, man. I'm really stoked for this game. To talk a little bit more about also like the team, and like because like there's a little bit of a contrast between like the realism of those worlds that we mentioned, and then also like our cartoony 90s mascot sort of platformer fella. So a lot of the team involved, a lot of the artists apparently come, like I mentioned, that core team that used to work on like the Rabbids series with Davide, people they really, really trust. But also they brought in some new people as well. And well, one artist, it sounds like it's the lead designer for Bradley the Badger himself, Fabio Poche. I'm going to butcher these names. But he's a concept artist and an illustrator at Day for Night Studios. And he actually had, like I said, history with Davide at Ubisoft. And he's credited with a lot of like Sparks of Hope, and like definitely makes sense. But he also has a history at Disney. He worked at Disney Italy in 2005 for quite a few years. And yeah, just really cool stuff. And like some of the other art team, they haven't really revealed everyone on the team yet. But like doing a lot of the environment art, they have a very like, how do you say, a parody sense to it, where they want him to seem like he sticks out. He belongs somewhere, but they're not taking themselves too seriously, as they said, when it comes to like the world exploration. And like, I think we benefit for it. I love it.
And I would have to say, like, going into, like, it probably was, like, the most, like, unusual part of the trailer here is just when his game starts to glitch out and stuff, and then suddenly it seems like he's in the real world, and, like, as a human being in a Bradley the Badger costume, and meets the equivalent of God, which is a poor developer sleeping on the floor in some apartment somewhere. And it's just like, that just really intrigues me as far as where they're going to be taking that idea there.
Yeah, and like Evan Peters, like we mentioned earlier, like he does a really good job. It seems like he's playing both Bradley the Badger, coming out in sort of a Badger onesie, but also the game developer. So yeah, it should be really good. The whole live action segment, like we're talking about this prior, but I don't know if they're gonna do like a full FMV, like full motion video sort of thing. But like, yeah, I don't know. It's definitely intriguing, and they've left it a bit of a mystery. And to discuss also like some of the other things they've left a bit of a mystery. Obviously, they've revealed like some of their like, and not even some, a very vast like influence from old Rareware and Rare themselves. But yeah, the involvement of Grant Kirkhope as the composer. Obviously, Davide and him have become pretty close. They've worked together for I think nearly 13 years now. And on the Rabbids series 1 and 2, Sparks of Hope, and the first one respectively. But yeah, apparently this time around, he credits Grant for having like a bunch of passion and like that they love working together. But Grant, he said in an interview with VideoGameBusiness.com, that he's doing something new and he's doing something different this time around. And then Christian Cantamessa kind of looked around and was like, "No, we probably should mention that at the moment." And then he goes, "Well, it's not time to talk about that now." But apparently Grant Kirkhope is doing something like new. And I know with like Sparks of Hope and the Ravens games, he's brought some of his metal background. He's brought with the Phantom some of that opera, the orchestrated opera sections. So I don't know to what extent Grant's doing something new, but I couldn't be more excited to find out what.
Yes, I'm very excited to see what just like with his music alone in the game there. And of course, we'll have to see if like maybe anyone else happens to be contributing to the project at all. But it seems that for now, as far as we know, it's just going to be Grant.
And there is something new that Grant is doing for this game. No, I won't go that far. But anyway, it's not time to speak about it. But Grant is doing something fantastic about this game. So. When we will be ready to speak about it, we will reveal more.
And yeah, I am excited about this project. Again, the main thing that very much intrigues me are just all these tools are going to give the player to come up with like a whole bunch of fun little game mechanics that you can use to manipulate the world and transform yourself and like do different things with the environment. Yeah, I guess we'll wait to hear more about this game. I imagine we probably will later this year, maybe hopefully a release later this year, though we'll fingers crossed on that front. But yeah, you can wish list it on Steam, and I imagine we'll get announcements for multiple platforms there as well. Did you have any other thoughts for today about the game, Sam?
Yeah, really quick, I will say, like, obviously it looks fantastic, and I think it's in both of our sort of our niche, like what we like, both in like character stylization, symbolic, like sort of satire. But like, I will say, so the two that have funded this game back before they announced, this was September 2024, before they announced their studio in October 2024. But yeah, so Krafton is going to be one of their biggest sort of funders, and their biggest funder, which is One Up Ventures, Ed Freeze, who of the few that have existed in the past, one of the good heads at Xbox, who used to work at Xbox. But so with One Up Ventures, they are supremely impressed, and he was quoted in saying, "When you see a lot of pitches like we do, it's always incredibly fun when you get to hear an idea that's completely new and original. This was easily the most creative thing we've seen in quite some time." Wow. So, I mean, both with like our niche, like I said, and like the fact that Christian Cantamessa, was working on Perfect Dark, it's a pretty good sign before it was canned, and Davide having such like high praise for Rare and friendship with Grant, I think we'll ourselves we're in for a treat there, man. And yeah, I cannot wait. Apparently, as Davide says, they have to go dark for a while, but the work they had to show with just 12 months at the point where they made the trailer, just 12 months of work is supremely impressive. And like, yeah, I just want to take a moment to talk about Day for Night and Bradley the Badger, because like games like this, honestly, are like what I live for, what I love about this stuff, and like the passion. Like we read in our original video that you can watch on our playlists, that like the statements of just like advocating passion. This is a passion project, making what they want to make and what they have passion for and what they want to play, making a statement about the industry and the development process, and just I absolutely love that the advocacy for passion here. And it's something that like for me, it was personally my favorite announcement at the VGAs, so I want to take some time and talk about it a little bit here today. But like, I trust these guys so much, and I couldn't be more excited, man. Like I can't wait. We don't have a release date yet, but they said they're cooking. I say let them cook.
Yes, let them cook. But guys, what did you think about this new trailer for Bradley the Badger? Please let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to go ahead, drop a like, and subscribe to the channel. As of the time of this recording, we're only 5 subscribers away from that next big milestone of 100 subscribers there. And we can't thank you guys enough for the support.
Yeah, if you guys want to join the Kooky Crew Discord, down in the description there, we'll have a link to that. But let us know what you guys think in the comments. And from me, Drew, and the Kooky Crew, y'all have a good one, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.